What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I hope you like this video. This is Love and Marriage Huntsville Season 3, Episode 11. That's what I thought. So, we pick up this the day after. Now, listen. Kimmy is talking to Maurice, letting Maurice know how things went down with the ladies, asking how things went with the guys. Now, I thought this was very interesting, y'all. I thought it was very interesting how we had the whole play-by-play of ladies' night. We saw them with the hookah. We saw them dancing. We saw them this, and then we saw the whole conversation they had outside. But when it came to the men, we didn't see shit. Okay, we saw like a couple of little flashes. We saw a casino. We saw gambling, and we saw this. I said, oh, y'all was slick. So either they dismissed the camera crew or they ran from the camera crew. But either way, and it might be something later where we're going to see some behind the scenes footage or something like that. But baby, as of right now, we ain't seen nothing from the men's night. But we found out that the whole conflict with Destiny and Tiffany extended all the way till they got back home. They was arguing on the Sprinter. They was arguing in the parking lot. I mean, they was arguing, okay? Then we see Tiffany talking to Lewis, right? And she's explaining to him what happened. And let me tell you something about Tiffany. Even though I feel like in this particular situation, I feel like Destiny may have overreacted a little bit. But let me tell you something about Miss Tiffany. Tiffany is a throw the rock, hide your hand kind of chick, right? Because she really acted like she don't know what she said to Destiny that pissed Destiny off. You were being slick, and you was throwing slick shade with the comments about Destiny and all the different places she lived. Like, you was trying to throw something out there, and you was trying to put some innuendo on it. Like, if you weren't in the moment and you didn't see how it played out, it feels like, oh, it's so innocent. I didn't even say anything. But now you want to act like girl, you know exactly what you're doing. I don't believe none of this is by accident or by happenstance. Because at the end of the day, what you were told is time and place. Nobody said that the conversation you had was inappropriate. They said that the time and place in which you chose to have it wasn't appropriate. And she wanted like, well, if we're all friends, I don't see what the problem is. And then Lewis, you just as bad. You just the man version of it. Because Lewis instead of just accepting shit and saying, you know what, I see where you coming from, now you want those stuff back. So with Destiny, it can't just be that Destiny got a problem with your wife because your wife came at her sideways. Now you want to be like, well, you know, maybe she sees something in us. You know, she's dealing with some things on her own. You know, she's processing through some stuff and she sees us as a happy couple, yada, yada, yada. That's why you think Destiny mad? Because she going through a divorce and she think y'all such a happy couple. Anyway, but Tiffany be making little snide comments, just like, I'm gonna throw this out there because I might forget to say it later. Just like later on in the episode when she was in her confessional and they were talking about Letitia and Marceau, and she was like, I mean, maybe this is why their marriage isn't so great, doing so great right now, because ... See, that's that slick shade shit. Who the hell said their marriage wasn't doing that great? And who are you to make that decision about the state of their marriage? Listen, I know a lot of us, and myself included, don't understand why Letitia put up with Marceau. I like Marceau. I think Marceau is funny, but ain't no way in hell I could be married to a Marceau. But that is between Letitia and Marceau. They are there celebrating their 15-year anniversary. They've been married longer than all the couples right now. So, for you to sit here and act like, again, that's that slick shade. But then if Letitia see the confessional and at the reunion say something to you about it, then you're going to be like, well, I don't know what I said. All I said was, you know what you're doing, Tiffany. Anyway, and you do it a couple of times this episode, but neither here nor there. So the next thing we see is Melody having a conversation with Destiny. And I think this was a really good conversation. I think in this conversation, what we got was Destiny. First of all, Melody agreed that Tiffany was throwing some shade. But what Melody said was, but you kind of started it. Like, you were kind of coming at her. She was talking to Letitia. She wasn't even talking to you. So whether you thought it was an appropriate conversation or not, it wasn't your conversation. And Destiny was like, what you mean? I didn't this and I didn't that. She was like, your face said it all. Listen, as somebody whose face gets them in trouble or has been getting them in trouble their whole life, I understood what Melody was trying to tell Destiny. And what Melody was saying was, you might not have said nothing, but your face said it all. And by the time your mouth caught up to what your face did, Tiffany probably already had an attitude, because you were throwing the little side glances and rolling your eyes. Although I probably would have been doing the same thing, but neither here nor there. That's what you was doing. Then Destiny brought up a good point. Destiny said, well, you know, I think me and Tiffany's relationship could probably have moved forward. We could have probably resolved it if you weren't always stepping in trying to play, Captain Save-A-Ho. And Melody was like, okay, I hear where you're coming from, and I can respect that, but I just felt like basically she felt like she was just trying to mediate the situation before it sort of escalated, right? But I thought that was a good conversation, and I felt like they came to a good place. I feel like that was a better conversation than the one they had over the watermelon child. So then Letitia goes to talk to Tiffany and Lewis, and Tiffany was like, are we good? Because after what Destiny said, and Letitia was like, I feel like your timing was off. I feel like that probably wasn't the best place for us to have that conversation. And once again, Tiffany, instead of just saying, okay, I received that, you want to sit here, explain, and justify. You want to come up with excuses. Well, I thought we were all friends, and I don't see what the issue was, but okay, no. Listen, receive, accept, move on. You don't always have to be right, and you don't always have to give an explanation. You asked her a question. She gave you an answer. Receive it. Receive it. And then here come Lewis jumping in again, trying to put his 2 cents in. Once again, ain't nobody ask y'all all that. So anyway, excuse me, I'm sorry. Actually, I'm out of order because something happened in that conversation. So I'm actually out of order. Let me come back to that conversation with Letitia. Pause. Let's get to Letitia talking to Marceau. So Letitia told Marceau what happened, yada, yada, yada. Letitia also brought up to Marceau what Tiffany said, and the fact that Lewis went back and told Tiffany all of this stuff. Now, to Marceau's credit, Marceau was like, well, yes, this is how I feel. They had the whole insecure thing again. And he was like, listen. And Letitia was like, I'm very insecure. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm insecure. You're not insecure, Tisha, and it's okay. A woman who is secure in their marriage doesn't pull her brother-in-law aside and say, you better keep them hoes off my man. You will be like, have a good time, babe. I see you when you get back. Me and the girls hanging out. You and the guys go and hang out. The fact that you was putting that much energy and effort into worrying about what they were doing, that's not a secure woman. That's not somebody that's secure. But I feel like they had a good conversation because he said, well, listen, I'm not saying that you're secure. I'm saying that you have some insecurities. And he was like, the fact that, and he brought up the whole therapy thing again, which I don't necessarily agree with what he was saying about the therapy, but I understand and I respect his opinion about the therapy. And his thing was, you are allowing other people to get in your head. And I know, the underlying thing they were talking about were the rumors about him having a baby, about him having all these other girlfriends, and she admitted that she did let it get in her head, that she allowed herself to listen to other people and their opinions and what they were trying to tell her about her marriage. And she said, you know what, I need to get back to hearing what you're saying and trusting in what we have going on instead of listening to other people. And Marceau was like, these people that, giving you all this advice about marriage, like, would you take financial advice from them? She was like, no. Would you take business advice from them? She was like, no. He was like, then why are you listening? They're not even married. Why are you listening to them tell you how to be married? He said, what is it that, that I need to do to help you? And she was like, I need more time. Now, Marceau, here's where I'm going to say you got to hear what she's saying. She's telling you what she needs. You asked her and she told you. And here you go with the excuses. Although I understand where you're coming from, your point is, listen, I'm grinding now so I don't have to grind later. I don't like working as hard as I work. I don't like having to do all the things that I'm doing. But at the end of the day, I am grinding and I am working as hard as I'm working so that we will be where we want to be. We can retire. We can live how we want to live. And that's what it is. So I'm making the sacrifices now so that we don't have to make them later. And I don't like missing time with my family. I don't like missing time when you and the kids are doing things. But this is what I have to do for our family. I hear what you're saying, Marcel, but you didn't hear her. She told you what she needed. And instead of making an excuse and explaining why you're not there, because the answer was, I'm going to make it happen. She said, I need more time. The answer was, I'm going to make it happen. But okay. So then she went, this is when Letitia went to go talk to Tiffany and Lewis. The other thing that Marcel said was that he did not want to do a vow renewal. He didn't want to do it. He wasn't interested in it. And that's just not what he wanted to do. Because remember, she was going to surprise him with a vow renewal. Now, let me tell y'all something. Something that was brought back to my memory was for their 10-year anniversary. Didn't they do a whole vow renewal? Their 10-year anniversary trip was right before the premiere of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Because we saw pictures and footage from that trip. But it wasn't for the show. It was like right before, because this is season 3. The show's been on for about 4 years, so that's about right. Y'all just had a whole vow renewal. So this vow renewal in Vegas thing, either it was just a stunt for the storyline, or Letitia, girl, go sit down. Like, you don't need to renew your vows every 5 years. Like, you are not Jackie Christie. Y'all need to be getting married every year, okay? But Marcel was like, ain't nobody trying to do that. No, he was like, listen, you go to Vegas with your wife. If y'all gonna do something different, then y'all gonna do something sexual. Okay? We ain't going to Vegas. He says, so if you want to surprise me, you can surprise me with something, something that we ain't done in the bedroom. But ain't nobody trying to renew their vows. So when Letitia went to Tiffany and Lewis, and I already told y'all the first part of the conversation. But the second part of the conversation was, well, we're not going to do the vow renewal. And the two of them sat there and tried to convince this woman that even though Marceau said he don't want to do it, they should do it anyway. See, y'all messy. But you messy and you try to pretend like you are not. But y'all are freaking messy. The woman said, listen, me and Marceau had a good conversation. Marceau don't want to renew no vows. And here you are trying to convince her that that's what y'all need to do anyway. Both of them. Tisha was like, y'all not going to get me caught up in the okie doke. My man said he ain't doing it. We ain't doing it. Although what you should have done was canceled it all together. Even though, again, I know we filming for a show. I get it. But once he said he wasn't interested, then you should have immediately got on the phone with the chapel and said, listen, we're not coming. You think that's the first time that the people down to the chapel and got a phone call saying, oops, we changed our mind? It happens. It is what it is. But no, here we go. Everybody getting dressed up, looking nice, got on their Sunday best. We go down to the chapel. Marceau is looking at Tisha like, Tisha looking at Marceau like, they get into the chapel and Tisha was like, well, we're here and it's all about love. I mean, is there anybody that wants to renew their vows? And it was crickets. That's exactly what it was. It was crickets. Everybody looking around, looking at each other like, you, no, not you, not you, no, not you. And so it was awkward. I felt bad. And I didn't, well, let me say this. I didn't feel bad for Letitia because like I said, once that man said he didn't want to renew his vows, y'all should just went straight to the damn restaurant. The restaurant was inside of the Paris Hotel, a.k.a. casino. If y'all got there early, y'all could have just gambled for an hour until y'all table was ready. But ain't no way in hell I'd have took my happy ass down to the chapel to try to pretend like I want to know who want to renew their vows, hoping that my husband's going to change his mind. Because really, that's what that was about. You were really hoping that Marceau was going to change his, Marceau was going to change his mind. Marceau didn't. So eventually, Lewis and Tiffany decided that they was going to go ahead and renew their vows. And of course, everybody is sitting there looking at them like, y'all been married for 15 minutes. Y'all renewing vows? Okay. And here go Lewis. Well, the vow, it's not about, writing vows down and this, and this, and this, and that. It's about, just making that commitment and recommitting. We know what vows are. We don't need you to break that shit down. Ain't nobody there trying to renew their vows. Period. And, Letitia was like, well, I just thought it would be fun. And Marcel was like, this not a game. Like, this isn't a game. Like, this isn't something you do like, oh, we'll just ride through the chapel and we'll renew our vows. No, that's not, no. Now, Marcel, I think he was being a little extra, but I understood the point, okay? But either way, it was awkward as hell, honey. And Martell made a little smart comment about, we talking about they only been married for 11 months. Some people don't make it that far. Why Destiny looked at him and was like, you got jokes? Oh, we got jokes. And Martell was like, oh, no, I ain't talking about you. I said, see, sometimes you don't even realize who you talking about in the room, okay? So anyway, now is where we start having the conversation about Tisha and Marcel. Everybody was embarrassed for Tisha. Melody made a good point, and I understand where Marcel was coming from. Marcel said he didn't want to do it. In my mind, Letitia had enough time to change the plans and redivert that sprinter and just go on straight down to the Paris Hotel where they was eating dinner. But even if that were the case, don't embarrass that woman like that. Like, you really could have just went on and said, all right then, we'll do it. But, y'all know Marcel ain't gonna do nothing he don't want to do. So, it is what it is. Anyway, so they get down to the Paris Hotel. They at Gordon Ramsay. Is it Gordon Ramsay? Yeah. Gordon Ramsay restaurant down to the Paris Hotel. Now, I've never eaten at that one. At that restaurant at the Paris Hotel. But I've eaten at some nice places down to the Vegas. Vegas got some really nice. You can eat for really, really cheap in Vegas. But you can also eat for very, very expensive in Vegas. I've done both, child. I've done both. So, we get to the restaurant and Marcel is picking up the tab. I said, I know that's right, Marcel. He picking up the tab for the last night there. Okay. The conversations at dinner were very interesting. Martell, they were talking about celebrating the different milestones of the marriages and how they had helped Melody and Martell celebrate their 10 years. And Melody was like, well, I'm sorry that the celebrations have to end here. And Martell was like, he was like, no, they not, because we're going to have I'm getting married again. He was like, hell, I might even get married to Mel again. Melody was like, what part of divorce is he not? Okay. You can live in that world. Then Melody was like, well, I remember you said that you hope, excuse me, that somebody breaks my heart. And she was like, why would you say that? That's the kind of stuff that sticks with you. Why would you say that? And so the men at the table were basically explaining to her why Martell was saying. Martell said it because he still loves you. And he don't want you to find somebody that's going to treat you better than he treated you, or he thinks he treated you. And ultimately, yeah, he wants you to find somebody that's going to break your heart, because of course, the more heartbreak you run into, the more you're going to realize, well, hell, I guess Martell wasn't that bad. And Martell keep going back to, I did some things right as a husband. At what point, Martell, are you going to understand that it doesn't freaking matter how great of a husband you were 80% of the time? It's the 20% that Melody got a problem with. And the 20%, again, I'm not going to go back down that road because we done talked about it a million times. But at the end of the day, that's the 20% that Melody is worried about. Don't nobody care about the 80%, Martell. Nobody care about that other 80%. And I don't even know if the percentage is that high, but I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, child. Then Marcel decides to have a conversation and say, listen, I appreciate that all of us are here together, but I'm going to need us, when the guys are talking amongst ourselves, I'm going to need the pillow talk to be cut down to a minimum. Like, my wife is coming back to me telling me things that I said to y'all. He said, and I'm specifically talking about the new kids on the block, He said, I really don't appreciate when I say something to y'all, it works its way back around to my wife. Because if I wanted to tell my wife, that's who I would have told. Here's what pissed me off about Lewis. Well, in a marriage, y'all shouldn't have no secrets. You shouldn't be, whatever you say to us is something you should have already said to your wife. Again, that ain't what I said. Don't concern yourself with what I am and what I'm not telling my wife. Either when I talk to you, it stays between us, or I don't just need to talk to you no more. So then Lewis was like, I hear what you're saying. But I'm just saying, like, I don't see what the problem is. Maybe if you talk to your wife more. Hold up, bruh. You don't need to tell me when and how I need to talk to my wife, sir. You don't need to tell me when I need to talk to my wife and how I need to talk to my wife. It don't matter. When I talk to you, it ain't to be repeated. And if I can't trust you not to repeat it, then we just don't need to talk no more. That's it. That's all. I was like, here he go. Anyway, that was basically it. That's the last night in Vegas. So next week we'll be back in Vegas. We'll be back in Huntsville, child. And I guess we only got a few more episodes left. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace.